Hello and good evening to all of you. This is Brijesh Dalmia from Masterstroke, and today we are going to talk about work life cycle of an MFD. Short program, and I want to thank you, ICICI Potential Mutual Fund, to bring in this program to our distributors. This will also be recorded and will be available on YouTube for later viewing. And if you want to know more about this, again, thank you so much, ICICI, one of the largest mutual funds in the country. And I want to start with this, that I started my life career in mutual funds with ICICI in 1999 from Patna. They were the first mutual fund company to approach me to start business. And after 6 months, 1 year of saying no, I finally started and gave my first business to ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund. Thank you so much, ICICI, for being here and taking care of investors well. Thank you so much. Just a minute. All right. So what is the objective of doing this 6-7 page presentation? You see, I started my career in 2001 in mutual funds. What I did in my early life, what I'm doing today, there's a lot of difference. And so I want to give you an idea that if you're a new advisor or an MFD above 60 years of age, what should be your work life cycle? Let's start. Very short program, very crisp program. And there are 3 stages of a mutual fund distribution business. The first phase is starting and acquisition phase, that you have taken your ARN and you are starting, and I will tell you what you should do in this phase. The second phase is building and nurturing phase, when you have some clients and then you want to nurture. And then the final stage is growth with efficiency phase. I have been into these 3 phases of my life. And so I will tell you how you should look as work life cycle in your own business. The first thing is starting an acquisition phase. Let us say you took your ARN code today, or let's say a few years ago. This should be your journey. And the total life cycle of work life cycle I'm going to talk about here is 3 years, 7 years, and 10 years. So basically 20 years. Beyond that is a very different life. For example, I have done 20 years of my business as a mutual fund distributor. So I don't know how it should be from here, but I have some plans which I will share with you. The first phase of starting an acquisition phase should be for 3 years. Let's say you took a ARN code today, 2023, then what should your life be for the next 3 years? And I will be very practical here, that this is what you need to do. First thing is you have to work 12 hours a day, 300 days a year. No holidays. Nothing. Okay. So this is going to be intense because you have started this business. It is not going to help you. If you work for 6 hours, 8 hours a day, of course, you will get some AUM, but it will not be very, very growth oriented. It will take you a lot of time. My suggestion is, and this also applies to distributors who are there for 5 years, but have not been given 12 hours. If your AUM is less than 100 crores, this applies to all of you. Work 12 hours a day, 300 days a year, no holidays allowed, nothing, nothing. Meet 2 people every day, minimum. If you don't do this, growth is difficult. First 3 years is the most challenging, most important, because here is where the compounding happens. For example, imagine you start SIP with a client, 10,000 rupees. The first 3 years is the toughest. Markets will go up, markets will come down. Markets go up, the client will say, let's redeem the investment. Markets will go down, he will stop the SIP. So it is very difficult for him to continue for 3 years and top up. But once he continues for 3 years, he has seen the cycle, and then the SIP never stops. Okay. In the same manner, if you work 12 hours a day, 300 days a year, meet 2 people every day, then you will get a lot of business. And your target should be to make 200 families, not clients, families, 200 families. And I'm not giving you any AUM targets. You should build your 30 to 40 lakh rupees SIP book in the first 3 years. Now, many of you who are joining today, आपकी SIP book अभी भी 20 लाख है, 15 लाख है, but आपको 5 साल हो गए ARN code. You have to introspect yourself, observe yourself. Did you focus on mutual funds? Let me add here before I move to the next slide, and there's one more line here. Friends, it has to be very intense. When I say 12 hours a day, let me very categorically, what should be included here and what should not be. The moment you leave your house, your clock starts. And the moment you leave your office, your clock stops. The travel time back from your office to home is not counted. Lunch time is not counted. Coffee breaks are not counted. Cigarette breaks are not counted. Friend calls and family calls during the day is not counted. And on that basis, you have to give 12 hours a day, which essentially means you have to work for 14 hours a day in the first 3 years. That is how hard it is going to be. If you don't do this, you will grow but not reach the pinnacle of your business after 10, 15 years. Very, very difficult. Many of you spend 10 hours out of home, but the efficiency is not there. You are engaged in unnecessary work, unnecessary meeting, unnecessary activities, and you think that you are giving a lot of time. It is not going to work. And try to hire 2 back office staff in the first 3 years. So I'm not saying day one. Of course, you should hire day one, but even if you're not able to hire day one, you should hire 2 back office staff within the first 3 years, no matter. And if you're not earning enough money in 3 years' time, it means you're not serious. It means you're not doing this, you're not doing this, and you don't have this. Everything is interrelated. If you work 12 hours a day, 300 days, you will be able to meet 2 people, you will have 200 families, you will have 30, 40 lakh rupees of SIP book. The moment you have 40 lakh SIP book, which essentially means you have 20, 30, 40 crores of AUM, which is good enough. Let's look at phase 2, building and nurturing phase. As is relevant, this time period is 7 years. So 3 years of starting, the plant has grown out of the earth, the seed has started blooming, and now it is going to gain strength, 7 years. During this period of 7 years, you are allowed to work 8 hours a day, 250 days. So I've cut down 50 days here, Saturdays or sick days or travel days or no mood days kind of thing, and you're allowed to work 8 hours a day. So from 12 hours, I'm cutting your work life to 8 hours a day. Now, many of you say that, Brijesh, you're very liberal, you give lower targets. Yes, I do. But here in the first 3 years, I'm not giving you any liberal target. I'm not saying that it is easy. The toughest is the first 3 years. And then in these 8 hours, you're not allowed to have your lunch breaks. You're not allowed to have your, coffee breaks or unnecessary meetings or friend calls. You have to work 8 hours a day. For this, you have to clock 9.5 hours. I'm very specific about this. 10 बजे ऑफिस के लिए घर से निकलेंगे और 6 बजे निकल जाएंगे, 8 hours नहीं होता. You have to leave at 8:30 and then you have to leave office at 6 o'clock. So that 1.5 hours extra you are wasting every day is not counted. So from 8:30 to 6 is your work hour, 250 days. And again, you have to meet 2 people every day. So for the first 10 years, you need to meet 2 people every day, prospective client, existing client, whatever. This is your formative year. This is your building and nurturing the base of the first 3 years of your SIP book and your investment book, your client book. And during this after 3 years, during this period of 7 years, delegate everything except sales. So now at this point of time, you should ask, आप अपने आप से पूछिए कि currently आपको कितने साल ARN कोड लिए हो गया और कितना काम आप खुद करते हैं, कितने काम अपने लोगों से कराते हैं. और अभी भी आप खुद से सारा काम कर रहे हैं, इसका मतलब आप 8 घंटे काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. इसका मतलब है कि आपको ARN लिए तो काफी वक्त हो गया, लेकिन एम्प्लॉयज हायर नहीं किया आपने, डेलीगेशन स्टार्ट नहीं किया, AUM बिल्ड नहीं किया, SIP बुक बिल्ड नहीं की. इसका मतलब है पहले 3 साल उतना एफर्ट नहीं किया आपने. So people who are early in their age, 20s and 30s, who are starting this business, 1 साल हुआ है, please note it down very, very clearly. And even if you are 6 years into the business, count this presentation as the start of your business and life again. Maybe 3 years को आप 1.5 साल कर लीजिए और उसके 7 साल को 3 साल कर लीजिए. Relive this 10 years. अगर आपको 10 साल हो गए इस बिजनेस में, तो अगले 5 साल अगर आपने ये नहीं किया पिछले 10 साल में, तो अगले 5 साल में इस पूरे काम को फिर से कीजिए. अदरवाइज कंपाउंडिंग नहीं मिलेगी. एंड in 10 years, यानी 3 + 7 years, grow your SIP book to 1 crore. One focus, 1 crore SIP book. Okay, 10 years में 1 crore की SIP book minimum होनी चाहिए आपकी. There are people who are doing this in 4 years, 5 years and 6 years now. छोटे शहर में रहते हैं तो भी 1 crore की SIP book आपकी होनी चाहिए. छोटे शहर का मतलब, if your population size is 15 lakh, 20 lakh population in your city, you should do 1 crore. If it is less than 10 lakh population, maybe 70 lakhs, 60 lakhs. But even in cities like, Jamshedpur and Dhanbad, people are having 1 crore of SIP book, 2 crore of SIP book. So it is possible, my dear friend. And finally, in 10 years time, your AUM should be 200 to 300 crores minimum. This should be the work life cycle. You should not die with ARN code. You should die as an investor. For that, you have to do this in 10 years time with the ARN code. At some point of time, I want to give you the challenge that you should surrender your ARN code, because this is your portfolio value, not the AUM value. For this, in 10 years, you have to develop this 200 crores of AUM. In the first 3 years, if you noticed, I did not ask you to read and learn. I did not give you that target. I know it is very important in the first 3 years also, but you will not do it because money is important. You want to run around and you have no time, no help, no office, no conveyance. Life is challenging, so you don't find time. You get tired. So being practical, I am not asking you to make a lot of effort in reading and learning, even if I say you will not do it. But after 3 years, from 3 to 7 years, 10 years, you must read and learn 1 hour every day, because I've cut down 4 hours here. This is very, very important. And finally, stage 3, friends. Stage 3 is growth with efficiency phase. Let me explain what it is. Because you have made a hard work of 12 hours for 3 years and 8 hours for 7 years, you have worked hard for mutual fund distribution business. You have an AUM of 200, 300 crores. And now is the time to grow. You have started well. You have nurtured the business and built it in the last 10 years. And now you have to grow beyond imagination along with efficiency. And this is how I have lived my life in the last 10 years. This is nothing else but my life story. This is how I worked in the first 3 years, then 7 years, and then the last 10 years. And now again, I'm into the 4th stage of my life where I am doing different things, developing masterstroke, working 2 hours a day. So it's a very different life. Let me tell you the stage 3 of the life. This stage should be 10 years. So you start 3 years, then 7 years, then 10 years. Means I'm giving you a target of 20 years being an MFD. Now you need to work only 4 hours a day, 200 days a year. So I've cut down 50 days more here. You don't need to work for more than 200 days. This is only possible if you follow the first phase of 3 years and the second phase of 7 years. If you don't do that diligently, here you have to work 12 hours a day because competition is going up. You know, efficiency of other advisors are going up. You will be competing with them and you will have to work harder. So it is like pay now, play later, or play now, pay later. So if you have worked hard early 10 years, the next 10 years, you can work only 4 hours a day. I did this in my life. I'd worked 4 hours every day on the third phase of my life between 2010 and 2020. Now you're allowed to meet one person every day because you have made the hard work of making 300 families as your client. You don't need to meet many prospective clients and you don't need to meet many existing clients because business happens on WhatsApp, business happens on webinars, business happens on phone calls. So your target, your target is now actually coming down, you see. The compounding has happened. The client has reached a portfolio level of 3 crores. Now his investment amount is lower, which means your effort is lower, but your productivity and growth is higher because after 2 crores of portfolio of the client, his compounding starts. He will earn 20 lakh rupees, 30 lakh rupees on the portfolio at 10-15%, even if he does 5 lakh rupees of 50,000 or 1 lakh rupees of monthly SIP. So the efficiency and growth is higher in the third phase of life. You can meet only one person every day because you have made the hard work. And now, as I keep saying, you don't have to focus on 100% of your client. Just focus on the top 20% of your clients. Rest of the client, if they call you, answer them. If they ask you for a suggestion, answer them then and there and just get over with this. They will still deal with you. But focus on the top 20 because from here, if you want to grow, you have to focus only on the top 20% of the client. And final statement, and then a few slides again. This is the phase from the 11th to 20th year that you have to give time to family and hobby. Very few of you, of course, some of you do, very few of us are able to give time to ourselves and our family in the first 10 years of this ARN business. Please write yes in the chat box. Agree in the chat box. That पहले 10 साल में समय नहीं मिलता, नहीं दे पाते परिवार को और अपने हॉबी के ऊपर में पूरा फोकस ARN पे, बिजनेस पे, इंश्योरेंस पे, म्यूचुअल फंड में होता है. Please write agree in the chat box if you agree with this. Now, you're not having an infinite life. You know, you will live 75, 80, 90 years. Maybe some of you will touch 100, you know, and I will take 65, 70 as the golden period, and then you will lose interest in many things in life. This is the time to give yourself, this is the time to give time to family and hobby. This is the third stage of efficiency phase. Few more slides. Let's say you are into 50, 60 and you are saying, Brajesh, but I am over, in the sense that, this phase is over for me. I'm already 50. What should I do? My answer is, if you are starting your career or if you are at 20, 30 crores and your age is between 50 and 60, don't go all out. Just choose your client profile. These client profiles should be potential. You should not just take all the clients because he's starting a 2000 SIP and 5000 SIP, because that client will not compound with you. Of course, he can, but chances are low because you're already 50, 55 and a client takes 10, 15 years of compounding. And I don't expect you to build a client who will grow with you after 15 years at 70 years of age. You will lose interest. What will you do with money at age 70, making money? You should make enough money till the age 60, 65 and 70. So you should choose client profile. You should not onboard everybody. And you should hire people immediately. If you're working singly, you don't have time to grow your business. You should hire immediately. So you focus only on sales. You don't have the luxury of waiting. Target growth phase till age 60 only. Thereafter sequential. मतलब जो हो गया सो अच्छा है. मतलब if you are at 50, you should only look at your professional career as 10 years. And if after that, of course, you can work and we will all work, but you should only target your career till the age of 60 years. That should be target. And finally, if you are age 60 plus age profile, some of you may be age 60 plus who are joining this webinar today. And you are asking, Brajesh, what should I do? I'm already 60 plus. What is your message to me? And my message to you is that work online. You will get tired visiting people's offices. Of course, once in a while you can do that. But try to do online meetings rather than physical meetings, because your age will not support moving out of your office and going to clients' places a lot. Add an element of fun and satisfaction. Do it for fun. Do it for satisfaction. Money should not be the ultimate objective, because see, you are already 60 plus. If you have already built up the career, then it's fine. But if you're starting at 55, 60 and you have only 5, 10 crores of AUM, then compounding will not happen before 10 years. So don't stress yourself. Do it for fun and satisfaction. Keep your cost low and enjoy this profession of mutual fund distribution rather than taking the stress that दूसरे का इतना AUM हो गया, मुझे AUM बढ़ाना है, because time is running out. Okay, so add an element of fun and satisfaction. And finally, work on your terms. You are 60 plus, you have seen the life, you have so much of wisdom. अपने टर्म्स पे काम करो. क्लाइंट पसंद आए तो काम करो, नहीं तो मत काम करो. कॉस्ट को कम रखो, सो दैट आपको स्ट्रेस नहीं होगा कि इस क्लाइंट को कन्वर्ट करना है. अपने कॉस्ट को कम रखो and work on your terms. This is the age profile of 60 plus. Final slide. Focus on yourself and your clients. I want to give this message that कि इस प्रोफेशन के अंदर में हम अपनी जिंदगी के बहुमूल्य 10, 20, 25 साल compete करने में लगा देते हैं. सोशल लाइफ से compete करते हैं, अपने अलग दूसरे म्यूचुअल फंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर से compete करने में लगा देते हैं. मत करो, कोई फायदा नहीं होने वाला है. इंस्पायर हो कुछ लोगों के साथ में, बट अपने आप पे फोकस करो कि आप क्या कर रहे हो जिंदगी में, आपका पर्पस क्या है. पैसे बन जाएंगे आपके, ये मेरी गारंटी है. कम बने, बेसी बने, पैसे बन जाएंगे. पैसे की वजह से काम नहीं रुकेगा आपका. ये तो होना ही है 10-20 साल के बाद में, लेकिन समय निकल जाएगा. तो पहले दिन से अपने ऊपर फोकस रखो कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं. अपने हेल्थ पे ध्यान रखो, अपने खान पीने पे ध्यान रखो, अपनी फैमिली को ध्यान दो. मतलब क्लाइंट फर्स्ट नहीं होना चाहिए, फैमिली फर्स्ट होनी चाहिए, और ऐसा होता भी है एनी विच वे. तो सबसे पहले खुद पे ध्यान दो, फिर अपने क्लाइंट फैमिली पे ध्यान दो, फिर अपने क्लाइंट पे ध्यान दो. ये 3 एम्प्लॉयज ऑफ कोर्स आते हैं, बट हर किसी का जिक्र करेंगे तो बहुत लंबा स्टोरी हो जाएगा. तो अपने ऊपर ध्यान रखो, अपने फैमिली के ऊपर ध्यान रखो, क्लाइंट्स का ध्यान रखो, एम्प्लॉयज का ध्यान रखो, और लाइफ को आगे बढ़ाने की कोशिश करो. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.